Alrighty! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Damon Riri. I'm an Omnis Magic practitioner here on this platform. And we are going to be talking about the Fool, the Major Arcana, the Fool. I'm kind of just winging it, because why not? For a lot of us, we have a difficult time understanding the tarot. I understand. Not a lot of people can put all the information that everybody's telling you, like this card means this and this card means that and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes we just need to pick it up from like maybe an experience of our lives. I'm going to be using some media clips to kind of make it more easier for us to understand some of these cards. Now, obviously,
ooh, I'm the devil. I am the devil!
Everything that I'm about to say about these cards are not like indefinite. They're just some of the ways that I've made, like, that made it easier for me to have a relationship with these 78 cards of the tarot. These beautiful,
amazing,
magical cards. The tarot deck that I will be referencing throughout all of this is going to be the Rider Waite Smith deck. It's just one of the, not necessarily the original deck, but it's one of the most classical tarot decks to begin with. Essentially, the Rider Waite Tarot Smith, highly recommended to be one of the first tarot decks. You can actually check my previous video about like tips on choosing a tarot deck. Maybe that might help, all that shazam. So let's go over some of the representation that you may come across when it comes to the Major Arcana, the Fool. First off, the key. The key number to the Fool is the 0. I don't know what I was doing with my hands, but it's 0. It represents that number. So what does key mean? Key just means to open knowledge to our doorways and portals and the doorway to the Fool. So yes, it's the value of 0, but its numerical value from 1 to 78 is the number 1, because it is the first Major Arcana. It's also considered the first card of the tarot deck. The fundamental correspondence to the Fool is the element of air, and this particular element also the representation of the color yellow. But anyway, let's go over the artwork of the Fool from the Rider Waite Smith Tarot deck. Let's get to it. First, before I look up, Google search anything,
your eyes are open.
No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not.
I'm gonna observe the art. And I highly recommend, if you don't have the Rider Waite Smith Tarot, that's fine. But I highly suggest that if you do have a tarot deck, look at the Fool card right now and do this with me. But I'll be referencing, you know, that deck that I mentioned earlier. So, one of the things you notice in the Fool card is the sun above, the sun and the yellow sky. Typically, we, in art forms, we usually have the sky as blue, but in the Fool, it's yellow. Huh. That's a little bit weird, right? It's a little bit weird. Well, here are some things that I would consider what the sun and the yellow sky may actually represent the divinity or source or spirit. That gigantic energy puffball somewhere above us, whatever you may believe in, that is watching over us, and particularly watching over the man, the Fool within the card. And even though the Fool doesn't look like he's noticing he's being watched, he's having a good time. At least that's what I'm seeing. Other things it could represent about the sky and the sun is he may appear in a dangerous situation, the Fool.
I'm in danger!
But he's still blessed by what's watching over him, right? Even though he may be in this dire situation, he's still a blessed man, fam. divine force, essentially, like, just to represent it. Anything that's watching over you, or you feel like something is overlooking your decisions, whatever you believe is on that. So we're gonna move on to the man, the fool himself. He is looking up at the sky, and he appears to not notice or care that he is in front of a danger. He's about to walk or maybe fall off of something. We're gonna talk about that something in a little bit. But he seems to be enjoying his time, however. He does not look like he's having a shitty day. And what is my examples for me thinking as the fool looks like he's having a good day? So, one of the examples is the fool's belongings, so everything, his accessories that he has on him, that seems like he's on his way to victory in his own mind. So the belongings are the stick in the bag, the white rose, and clothes, particularly the ones that he's wearing. What am I saying with this? It's not like he's naked or anything. Let's go over the stick in the bag. So the stick in the bag seems like he may have ran away, right?
Run away! Run away! Run away!
A reference to running away from your house or running away from something is you don't want to bring everything because you don't really have that time.
I don't have time for this.
So it seems like that's what he may have done. He just grabbed the stick on the road and grabs probably a bag, and he probably just has some snacks in there. Probably not even gonna last him the whole day or like the next few months or so. He ain't thinking of survival. I'm just gonna say that right now. He just thinking about like, ooh, that's chocolate.
Chocolate? Chocolate! Chocolate!
Let me have some of that. I'm gonna put that in the bag right now. So that's all he brought. He brought the chocolate, the bag, and the stick. We're gonna just pretend. And then we have the white rose, which he is holding. Words! He is holding in the other hand. Now, the white rose could potentially be something he passed by, like on his journey, like walking over here to see like the tremendous environment. He's like, hey, look at that bush. Hey, look at that thing on the bush. Look, it's white. It's beautiful. It probably smells really good. So he picked that shit up, smelled it like the air. Representation. He smelled it and he was like, ooh, I like this vibe. I'm gonna bring it to my journey. And there it is in the art. He brought it with him because it probably just smelled really, really good. And some thoughts about roses usually means, at least from my perspective, desire, a need, something I need to do, something I wish to absolutely experience because my heart is telling me that I gotta do it.
I gotta do it, man.
Right? And then white. White can represent purity, innocence. There is no like thought of like, oh, what's wrong that's gonna happen. It's pure intentions from the bottom of our heart, from the bottom of our souls. We gotta do this because it feels right. The white rose. Now, the clothes on him as well. If you look at parts of his clothes, he does have the symbol of spirit, and right here, this is the symbol of spirit, and he does have that like patterned all over his clothes. And once again, that's probably just referencing back to the sun and the sky in the beginning that we mentioned, but this time it's a reference that he is wearing it as if he is being directed. He is wearing source as if he is being guided. We're gonna go over his pants and his shoes, which are also yellow, once again just mirroring the sky, going back to he is being guided towards this direction. And then we have this little red feather on his hat, which honestly, this man has an impulse of probably picking stuff up that he thinks is pretty on the way to this journey. So he probably picked up this red feather off the floor too. Representations of feathers in general is birds, right? Like feathers usually come from birds, and birds for the most part are, well, most birds are flying free. They the wind guides the wind guides birds, free forming. They can get from one place to the other without having to touch the ground. Red is kind of similar to the representation of the rose, desire, a need, but red could also represent in this case that there is a part of his will that is being enacted in this journey. We're now gonna go over the dog to his feetsies. Alright, so what's the dog? What does a white dog represent? He's not looking at the sky. The dog is completely looking at the fool himself, the man himself, looking up at him as if he is important to the dog.
I love you.
Right? And so what I would think is he's barking at the fool because he doesn't want him to encounter danger.
Bark? Jeez, it's been a while. Let me give it a try. Brack.
So sometimes the dog in the Fool card can represent our ego. That breaking point when we're trying to do something, like the Fool is trying to do something and not want to listen to anybody. But there's this little thing in the back of our heads, sometimes it's the dog, trying to tell us and warn us, like, maybe you should also just maybe think a little about it. Maybe let's have a little discussion. Because I'm your friend and I don't want you to be hurt. And the dog's just trying to be a friend.
You're my special friend.
Trying to warn him, like, yo, I don't want you to die because no one's gonna feed me after you die.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I would like to consider too the dog can be like a representation of our responses, of our defense mechanisms, you know, because sometimes we like to defend ourselves in toxic ways and just, yeah, but the dog isn't always that bad too. Honestly, the dog is more important to think about in like the reversal of this, but I'm not gonna go over the reversals. And the last thing in the art is the cliff. The cliff, the danger.
Oh my god! Oh, Jesus!
It is an unmoving danger, which means it's already been there before he even came to this journey. So what can the cliff represent? This will either be a make it or break it moment for the Fool. The Fool will either survive, right, the fall, be injured, or simply die. Whatever happens, the Fool will experience a different perspective than what he is currently having, which is a good time. He's currently having a good time. He has yet to jump off the cliff. Remember that in this artwork, he has yet to jump off the cliff. The cliff could also be an opportunity of life, of unknown possibilities, unknown opportunities that if you don't take a risk, you know, you never really know what's going to be under, like, at the bottom of that cliff. If you press play, which, by the way, I highly recommend when you're also studying tarot, if you look at the art and if you had a play button, like, play it out, what are you seeing in your head, right? What if he fell down and there was a bunch of, like, pillows at the bottom and he actually lives, and then he gets to experience, like, soft pillows?
What do you mean by that?
You know? You never know. Or maybe there's a trampoline at the bottom of the freaking cliff. You never know.
Damn!
Right? We immediately think of danger. That's our ego. That's the dog. Let's go ahead and move on to the media clip. If you haven't seen any of these media clips, I apologize. I will say, spoiler alert before you move forward, these examples are from films, TV series that I have watched myself. So just... yeah, I've warned you. Spoilers if you haven't seen these. Here's the first one. Let's get into it. Yeah! The first one is one of my favorite examples is Tangled and Rapunzel leaving the tower. Okay. Right here. Look at that hair falling out of that tower. Oh, fabulous hair. Gotta say, I love this movie. Pause. Let's pause. Pause right here. Pause. This moment right here. You seeing that moment right here? Right here. Look at her jumping off of that tower and then that hesitation of her eyes. Right here, that moment is one of the times where we're going to feel like,
oh shit.
multiple things, the dog is going to start talking in our head like, is this a good choice? Is this a good choice? But if you follow the fool energy, this is what's going to happen. Let's press play. That hesitation, look at that. And right here, the fool jumped off the cliff. And then when you jump off the cliff, you're going to start singing like Rapunzel. But the good mood, the good feeling, the vibration. Rapunzel, she didn't want to trouble Mother Gothel. She didn't want to worry her. She was thinking about other people, right? And that's what we do. Whenever we want to make our decisions, we be thinking about what other people think, or what you think your family is going to say to you, blah, blah, blah. Your friends are going to judge you. That is what's going to stop you from experiencing the Fool. I'm going to say that right now. So, during this time, the great thing that she did is the risk first, I love that it started with her hair. The risk was to bring her hair down a tower, and she brought herself down that tower herself. And when the Fool comes around, we will experience hesitation. And in the moment of hesitation is what is going to make it or break it. Taking risks can be worth it. And one of the examples of the worth it part was when she first touched her feet and then proceeds to sing a song about it. When she touched her feet? Hold on.
That's suspicious.
When she touched the grass. When she touched grass.
Oh.
And then proceeded to sing about it. That moment right there is when the Fool, or us, will experience the beauty of the risks that we've taken, because sometimes the unknown is gonna reward us. Our next example of a situation of a media clip is going to be from Arcane. One of my favorite scenes, it's literally in the first episode, is when Powder encounters having to jump off the rooftops. I don't know if you've been noticing the pattern here, but this is going to, reflect the Fool and that cliff right here. Look at Powder's face. That face similar to Rapunzel earlier.
Powder, look at me.
I love this interaction. I'm ready.
That's right. So?
She takes that breath. Sometimes we need to take a breath, right? Before we start the journey. But she proceeds amazingly to jumping off these rooftops. I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here. Let's get a zoom in of her face. Look at that. Just the same way Rapunzel had that moment of pause in the bottom of the tower before she even hit that grass. Powder is already looking, what I would assume is probably looking at her friends and also obviously down below. But that hesitation, you will, in the moment of your life, when the Fool is about to present itself to you, that energy, you will experience hesitation. Hesitation. Just like these two beautiful and amazing women. Powder, right here, is experiencing hesitation. And the cool part about this part of the clip, just this scene in general, is Entangled, she had to kind of convince herself to slowly touch the grass. For Powder, in this case of the clip, she hears someone who believes in her, which is Vi. Vi is the representation of the voice of, you can do it. Just do it. Sometimes, guys, we need someone kind of like a Vi in our lives to break our hesitation, to encourage ourselves to just enjoy. We either need to be a Vi in our lives or be a Vi in our environment. We want to listen to our Vi. I'm ready. I am worthy. I can do this. Because I'm going to remind you right now, Powder is reminded that she's ready and you can do this. So when that hesitation pops in, when you encounter the Fool, remind yourself, you are ready. Even if you don't have all the information, you're ready to at least start the journey. Don't think about the consequences. It ain't happening yet. Worry about that when you get there. But it's when you worry about consequences, you're going to stop yourself from experiencing the Fool. For our last clip, our last example for the Fool energy, what you may encounter, is going to be one of the scenes from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I'm sorry. When will I know I'm ready?
Key moment. You won't.
It's a leap of faith.
It's a leap of fate.
A leap of faith.
Amazing.
When do I know I'm Spider-Man?
You won't. You'll never know.
You won't.
Amazing. And then he takes the risk. Right here. Ugh, amazing clip. But he does it. He stumbles along the way, because we will stumble. We will stumble along the way of the Fool energy, the full representation of our lives, the experience of hesitation. We will stumble along. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, my babies. It's okay. But let's go over the clip. So one of the things Miles asks is like, when will I know I'm ready? And Peter just responds, never. You're never gonna know. You're not gonna know if the risk you're taking is going to be a good one or a bad one. However, that's not what the Fool is thinking about. The Fool's lesson isn't about telling you what's right or wrong. Throw that out the garbage. What this is the fact that you know that we'll never really know if we're ready means that you can't think about logic. So what can you fall back into?
I slap him really hard in the tit.
Your feelings, your soul, your passion, what feels right versus what is right to you. You will just feel that it is just something you crave, you desire, and need to do. That's how you'll know that the risk is worth taking, and you will stumble along the way. And it's okay. As long as you don't give up, because the Fool energy ain't about to give up. He's not about that life. I bet you if he survives that cliff, he gonna get back up and be like,
huh, I'm probably gonna put a parachute on next time.
And he's still gonna jump off that cliff. To wrap things up, what is the challenge that this card brings? Well, you will be challenged to take risks, to not worrying about consequences, to dare yourself into new opportunities, to be spontaneous. Everything is a new experience worth doing at least once. Letting go of worrying about the future, never giving up and getting back up. Get back up, fam, get back up. There is no what if. Let that go. Just do it. You also don't need much. You just need to pack what you already have. For example, like me recording this video, the only thing I really needed is a camera and just the audio in there to start a video, to start this content. You don't need much. You just need you. The Fool just needed him and some snacks along the way. Focus on the happy and the joyous moment and the adrenaline, the good it can bring. Also, the big brain of this is the belief that anything is possible, because it is. As long as you think it, you're making it true. So if you think you think you can't do it, guess what? That is what you are manifesting. But if you are trying to manifest the Fool in your life, you gotta believe anything is possible. And the moment you start believing that, the moment you start to encourage yourself to actually do. So, My last tip, don't hang out with people who tell you the problems of your goals. You want to hang out with people who want you to succeed, who want to encourage you, even when the odds are against you. And sometimes those people don't need to be there for you. You need to do that for you. It's a blessing if you encounter those types of people in your life. And I hope you are that type of person with your friends and your family and the people around you and the environment around you, is to learn to encourage people to do. Because you are setting up people for success. And when you set up people for success, you will also set up that vibration back to you tenfold. My assignment challenge, if you dare to choose to do it, is basically do something spontaneous that you've been wanting to do but kept telling yourself no. But this time, actually do it this time, this month, or sometime this week. Number 2 of this challenge is, once you've done it, take note and journal every experience of that moment, because that experience is now going to help you read the Fool card. And you're going to have that little knowledge, that little key in the back pocket. And if you're reading for someone or reading for yourself, you're doing the tarot and the Fool pops up for you, remember that experience of the spontaneous moment in your life of whenever you do it. Take note of it, because that will be a great example that may mirror a situation further down the road into your life. Whew! All right. Thank you for watching. I'm Damon Ruri. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you ended up here, and for that I thank you for this blessing. I hope and pray that you learned something new and valuable with us, and overall I hope you enjoy your stay here. Links down below of other places you can find me.